Have you ever wondered why your brain cannot follow a diet? You start trying and trying and trying, and all of a sudden you get 3, 4 days of eating good, and you just feel like low motivation, just loads of opportunities to give up. And then you fall off and think, I'll just start Monday again. Well, stress. Stress is the big thing when it comes to whether you are going to be capable of following a diet, along with sustainability. But one of the things I notice with the people that I work with, especially when we start, is that stress stress has stopped them from being able to follow a certain plan. And we have to look at that root cause of the stress. And chances are, again, that stress is coming from up here in the brain, in our mind. Now, we cannot control our thoughts. Over 80% of our thoughts that we have every single day are negative. It's a it's a fact. You search for that, you will see that 80% of our thoughts are negative. We cannot control those thoughts, especially right now in this day and age where we're getting shot over so much negative news left, right, and center, whether it's social media or looking in the mainstream or email or wherever it is. We can't control those thoughts, but we can control our reaction and our perception to that. Now, we only have a certain capability of actual brain function throughout the day. And the more stressed we are, the more of an impact this has on whether we're actually able to resist temptation and actually stay healthy. Now, one of the big things I go into with clients is our brain health. Because if our brain isn't healthy, chances are the signals aren't getting to our gut for our gut to be healthy. Chances are then we're not going to be able to have healthy blood glucose management and all these different things that go into place in order for our lives to be healthy. We're going to feel lethargic, we're going to have low moods, even lower motivation, and just loads of problems when it comes to our health further down the line. Now, in our brain, we have things called glia cells. These glia cells were previously thought that they're just this brain's glue. Glia in Latin means glue, and they're going to stick the brain together. But in reality, they're known as a lot more important now than they once were. We have over 10 glia cells for every neuron in our brain. I'm certain you would have heard of neurons firing up in order to get these thought processes, get all the brain health and all these different things going on. Now, these glia cells are essentially our immune system in the brain, our immune signalers in the brain. And they will tell the neurons, they will tell your brain when you are stressed. Now, over 50% of our brain's weight is glia cells, and they're either resting or active. And you probably guessed that the things that switch them from resting to active are the things which the thing we try and stay away from. Now, we need a little bit of it, stress. We need a little bit of stress because if we didn't have any stress, we would just die. We wouldn't move forward. We would just die. We need some stress to survive. But chronic stress for too long periods of time is what leads to a lot of the issues. Now, what happens? These glia cells will dispose of dead neurons. They will dispose of a lot of the plaque that builds up, which can then lead to Alzheimer's and other memory problems that go on. There's a lot of cellular waste as well. And these glia cells will get rid of all that cellular waste, because if we get too much waste build up in our brain, they are going to interfere with these neurons and the way they communicate with each other. Now, I've already spoken before about signaling from the brain to different hormonal places. We have a thing called a hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal axis. So the hypothalamus in our brain sends a message to the pituitary to send a message to our adrenals in order to release stress hormones and adrenaline and things like that. We also have our HPT axis, which sends signals to the thyroid. Now, if we have problems in our brain, high levels of inflammation, these signals get messed up. Therefore, we have problems signaling, whether it's thyroid hormone, whether it's sex hormone, whether it's simply adrenaline and stress hormones and all these different things. We have problems signaling this. Therefore, we release too much, we release too little, we have cross reactions and all these different things that come up. And they cause even more inflammation over time, which causes the neurons to fire slower, causes brain fog, causes lack of mental endurance, and we just can't recall, we can't we have slow reflexes and all these different things that come along. Now, it also shuts down energy production in our cells when we have chronic stress over time and leads to very, very high levels of degenerative disease and heart disease and all these different things. So you can see why recently or over the last few months, I've been geeking out on brain health and how that the actual improving the health of our brain is going to be powerful for pretty much every single client that I work with. So if you've had problems with brain fog, variations in mental speed, reduced brain endurance, brain fatigue, or after like if you've been decorating or exposed to some chemicals and you get high levels of brain fatigue, then chances are you've got a lot of information going on in your brain. The same with protein. So if you have a reaction to food, I say proteins, it doesn't have to be protein, because remember, food is smallest brain fog right now. Food, its smallest particle is always going to be down to a single protein strand. So when we say cross-reactive proteins, we don't just mean protein in the sense of the word for, say, bodybuilding or something, but we also have carbohydrates and fats in there. So if you react to food or you have a lot of reactions, immune reactions to food and other things, potentially there's something going on in your brain as well. And then from there, it can go from subtle to moderate. So you can then get depressed, you can get anxiety, you can get sleepiness where you're waking through the night and you just really get low moods and struggle, low motivation, lethargic, fatigue, and all these different things that come along. So it's something which we really, really need to get on top of. And how do we do that? Because if we don't, increase the risk of diabetes, high levels of obesity, and all these different things that just aren't going to be good. Like at any time, but especially right now with the amount of stress and the amount of things going on in the world, which is going to impact our immune system. Now, what do we need to do? We need to improve the brain function. Yesterday, I spoke about oxygen in the brain. So if you have like the capillary refill test, so you've got your capillaries and they go back to pink quite quickly. So we want to make sure that we have good blood flow. So if you're getting cold hands and feet, chances are there's something going on in your brain which we need to sort. And we look at cross-reactive proteins when it comes to food. So that's another way of looking into it. And getting more oxygen around by doing breathing exercises. So what one breathing exercise you can do is going in through one nostril. Okay, that didn't help. Now, simply going in. So changing your nostrils when it comes to breathing, or just simply sitting there and doing 5-10 nose breaths. There's a book called Breathe. I believe it's James Nestor. I believe it's Nestor. Don't, if I'm wrong, I apologize. But James someone called Breathe, who will talk around like the benefits of doing nose breathing and some different techniques to do that. And also like we want to get lowered stress response. So your perception of stress, all these things going on, we can get in a negative loop. So where we're in such a negative point, we actually search out negativity. So doing meditation, doing mindfulness, but the big thing is just looking at what you are eating, managing your blood glucose levels, and looking at your consistency with sleep time. I speak about it all the time. Hydration, getting like an ionic mineral blend when it comes to drops to add in, whether it's like hydration, to make sure you can drink water and it actually goes into the cells. Getting your sleep right when it comes to sleeping at a similar time every single night and waking at a similar time, getting the conditions for sleep right. So no bright lights before bed and turning off technology an hour or so before bed, getting some blue light blockers if you need it. Hydration, as we said, movement is a big one as well. Chances are a lot of people, and we just had a Clubhouse live, and it was with Rick Barker, one of my old clients, and he was talking about quote of the day about working harder than yesterday to move forward. But in reality, that sometimes we need to move backwards. We need to slow down in order to speed up. And a lot of people don't look at that, especially in this world. It's go, 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 go. If we can actually slow down, we usually speed up. So chances are with some clients, and if they're not able to do this, if they're constantly pushing at the gym like I used to do, and they're not able to actually take a step back, I won't take them on. If people are waking up, or not waking up, going to bed at 1, 2, 3 a.m. and not prepared to move the sleep time forward, Yes, you may have deadlines some nights and everything, but if you're constantly going to sleep past midnight and getting like 4 or 5 hours sleep without like a real excuse for it, your kids or something like that, then honestly, like it's going to be hard to get improvements elsewhere without doing these foundational things. And then it comes to like supplementation you can have. Yes, we can get some things to help our immune system, our vitamin C, D3 and K2, these things that can help. Then you look at like things that can support methylation, things that can support cellular health, your glutathione and things like that. But honestly, with supplementation, that then comes into such a one-to-one basis that it's very hard to recommend without a consultation or working with someone on a one-to-one. And honestly, like you can spend thousands on supplements. People will market supplements, and it's one thing that I get frustrated with, just chucking supplements. Yes, some clients are on a lot of supplements, but only when we build these foundations first, getting that stress management, that perception of stress, getting into some sort of routine. These are the things that are going to be a game changer. So if you're looking for that one-to-one coaching or one-to-two coaching, if you've got a friend you want to do it together and you're happy with sharing all the details with, then drop me a message and we can look and see how that is going to work for you straight away. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, whether it's gut health, brain health, autoimmune conditions, all these different things, nutrition, movement, drop me a message and we can get those answered for you.